My name is Sophia Coco, and for my oral interpretation presentation, I will be reading Greta and the Giants, which is written by Zoe Tucker and illustrated by Zoe Persico. Zoe Tucker is a children's book illustrator and author from England, and she is very into writing books that are meaningful and that portray a inspirational message. And this specific book is based on the story of Greta Thunberg, who is a very famous climate activist, and she is working towards just educating young people about becoming more aware of their surroundings and also teaching young children how to stand up and be a part of their society, which I think as an educator is especially important, and that is the reason why I chose to read this book today, as well as the fact that the environment and the climate change is something that is important and also interesting to me. Greta and the Giants. There was once a girl who lived at the heart of a beautiful forest. Her name was Greta. One morning, things weren't quite as they should be. Greta stepped out into her yard, and there, huddled together in the shadow of the trees, were all the animals of the forest. A soft, silvery brown wolf stepped forward with his tail low to the ground. "Please help us," he whispered. "The forest is broken, and we don't know where to go. The giants are ruining our home." The giants had always been there for as long as Greta could remember. But now they were worse than ever. They were huge, lumbering oafs, and they were always busy. They chopped down trees to build homes. Then they chopped down more trees and built more homes. The houses grew into towns, and the towns grew into cities. They built factories and shops and cars and planes. They worked all day and all night until eventually there was hardly any forest left. But the greedy giants had forgotten how wonderful the forest was. They didn't see all the little birds and bugs and butterflies and bears that trembled in the shadows. And no one told them to stop because everyone was scared of them. Everyone except Greta. "Will you help us?" asked the wolf. Greta looked around her. The animals looked tired and sad. She had to help them. But how? Then Greta had an idea. The next morning, Greta went to the middle of the forest and waited for the giants to come. She stood alone, holding a big sign. The sign said, "Stop!" She waited and waited. On the first day, the giants didn't see her and lumbered on by. And on the second, and on the third, too. But on the fourth day, something strange happened. A little boy who had been watching Greta made a sign and came and sat down next to her. He didn't say much, but Greta knew he thought the same way she did. Soon more people and animals saw what they were doing and joined in too. Before long, a huge crowd filled the forest, stretching out to the city and the roads beyond. They stood together and waited. The crowd was so huge that the giants were stopped in their tracks. "Please stop," Greta cried. "Your greedy behavior is spoiling our home. You've broken the trees and trampled the flowers, and now the bees and birds have flown away. The animals are homeless, and our forest is dying." Greta had spoken. Everything was silent. But then everyone in the crowd began to shout, "The smoke from your fires is choking the air! And please stop cutting down the trees. You can help plant some new ones and mend my home. We need to take care of our forest and live together. Will you please try?" they all said. The giants shuffled and fidgeted and stomped their feet on the ground. They were embarrassed and a little bit sad. You see, the giants were so busy building, they didn't see what they were doing to the forest or to the animals that lived there. The giants felt terrible. "We're sorry," they said, and they promised to try harder. So from that day on, the greedy giants weren't so greedy. They slowed down and learned to sit quietly. They stopped working all the time and instead took up some new hobbies. They stopped chopping down the trees and learned all about gardening and living in the forest. They cooked, repaired, tidied, and shared, and before long, the forest became more beautiful than they could ever have imagined. And that is the story about Greta Thunberg taking a stand and how Greta Thunberg is working hard to transform our community and our society in general. Thank you.